ロック福田の
腕時計魂。
今日は、
パルミジャーニフルリエさんにまたお邪魔しております。
今日は、2021年の1月に、新しい CEO になられたグイド・テレーニさん、
わざわざね日本に来てくださったんですよ。
ということで、インタビューをさせていただくことになりましたので、じっくりとお話を聞こうと思います。じゃあ今日はよろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。
Hello。
グイド・テレーニさん。
グイド・テレーニさん、福田さんと丸山です。よろしくお願いします。
Pleasure to be with you。
早速お話を伺いたいんですけれども、昨年2021年の1月に、パルミジャーニフルリエのCEO に就任されたと。で、パルミジャーニフルリエというブランドについては昔から親しくされてたんでしょうか。
Oh yes, I know the brand since I started in watchmaking in the year 2000. The first time that I heard the watch, the brand was because Bulgari, the brand I was working for 20 years before, launched a rectangle in the year 2000, and the limited edition platinum had a Parmigiani movement inside. It was the hebdomadaire, the power serve 8 days, beautiful, refined, well, extraordinary finishing. So I know the brand since its beginning, and the prestige of the brand has always been in my mind at the highest level of the industry. So I know them also as a partner for the industry. And then when I joined last year, of course I discovered it from the inside, and it's a fascinating brand.
ありがとうございます。パルミジャーニフルリエに移籍をされた理由っていうのを伺ってもよろしいでしょうか。
Well, I think Parmigiani is a beautiful brand, and the potential of independent brands in this moment is extraordinarily high, because luxury is becoming bigger and bigger, and the more big luxury becomes, watchmaking becomes, more mainstream it goes. And there is a counter trend of an elite of customers who is looking for more personal choices, and they go for high competent independent brands. And Parmigiani Fleurier has this soul which is very gentle, very educated, very knowledgeable, and very understated, that in my mind is very well suited for the times that we're living and for the future. So the potential is great, the manufacturing skills are at the top level, and to have a challenge which is holistic, managing the brand in its entire aspects, to me was a defining moment in my career. So I wanted to take the challenge.
ミシェル・パルミジャーニさんとは個人的なお付き合いとかっていうのはあったんですか？
I never met him before. I met him the first day. The second day I was in the company, and it was a very interesting moment because it was spontaneous. It wasn't planned. It was in the corridor in front of my office, and we bumped into each other because he lives next door, so he pops in time to time. And his father's from Milano, and so we spoke Italian, and he's very humble and he's very open, and we got to know each other from a human point of view. And to me, he's a source of knowledge. I need to understand his values. I need to understand his persona, not because that defines the brand. And having him present to me is extremely important to shape the brand that carries his name.
これを聞いてもいい？
もちろんぜひお願いします。
グイドさんが就任された時っていうのはパルミジャーニフルリエがトンダ GT が非常に世界的に人気になってきた時期だったと思うんですね。で、トンダ GT っていうのは僕は個人的にパルミジャーニフルリエの新しいアイコンだろうっていうふうに思っているんですが、その上でグイドさん就任されてPF をこう新しく作られるわけですね。その PF っていうのは何がきっかけでいつ思いついたのかっていうのをちょっと教えてください。
Well, first of all, I had a need to assess the brand style because the brand was born 25 years ago, 26 now, and it lost a little bit of identity in the years, and we had to go back to that client, which is a watch purist, the watch purist of today. If you think of who made the brand prestigious 25 years ago, it was a very discreet person, understated, very knowledgeable, able to know what craft is about. So the exigence of finishing had to be at the top level. And this non-ostentatious mood, which is part of Michel's being, because Michel is founded on high competence, horological culture, craft, but also understatement, because he's very modest and humble. No? So these values needed to be showcased in the brand, and I think the PF complements the GT, because the GT is a starting point, from an aesthetic point of view, but it elevates it in the content in watchmaking, it elevates it in the techniques that is in the watch, and it purifies its style because it's even more refined. So you say that it was booming. Now we're doing in Japan 10 times what we were doing last year. So the PF is even bringing this appreciation at a level which was, it's a surprise even for us.
グイドさんが一番 PF で気に入ってるポイントを私お聞きしてみたいんですけど、どうでしょう？
Well, it's a whole. It's the balance of all the elements. First of all, it's the style, which is very pure and very minimal, but it's a rich minimalism. It's something that has a craft and a finishing which is really at the highest level. And this has to be done like this, because Parmigiani-Flerurie is not a conventional brand. Parmigiani-Flerurie has to be always at the maximum possible level of craft, and the style has to be contemporary and has to interpret this mood, which is not ostentatious, in a way which is fresh, and that's what we're doing with the PF.
いわゆる僕らこういったそのケースとブレスレットを一体にしたスポーティーな高級モデルを、よくラグジュアリースポーツウォッチっていう言い方をしてるんですけれども、グイドさんはその PF と GT をラグジュアリースポーツウォッチだと思ってらっしゃいますか？
Of course, yes. They are in this domain, if you want, of watches that are versatile, because they are very suited for many occasions, from formal to leisure and to sporty, if you want. They're not technical sport watches. It's not about the technical performance. It's not about the description of the information. So we are interpreting this sport chic, if you want, a luxury watch, with this sense of refinement and these finishings that are extraordinary. So it's a Parmigiani-Flerurie interpretation of that kind of watch.
なるほど。今ね、スポーツシックっていうふうにおっしゃいましたけど、その実際の具体的な使いこなし方というか、こう付けこなし方は何かおすすめはありますか？
Well, the beauty of a sports chic watch is that you can wear it in any occasion. So it's the companion that you can have for daily life, and it's suited really from formal to really from the beach up to a formal occasion. But what we bring to the table is the horological content. No, because even if you take the new launched the GMT Rattrapante, this is a watch that apparently seems a two-hander, and in reality it's an innovative complication that takes the GMT in another way of functioning, no? Because it's the first time ever that we use a Rattrapante function outside the chronograph. No? So it's not only the style, it's not only being part of a sports chic world, but it's adding to this world what Parmigiani is about. It's subtle, understated, refined ideas applied to watchmaking, and the purity of the idea is the soul of the brand.
このラトラパンテを思いついたのはグイです。
Well, the idea came 3 days after I joined the company. We were in the pandemic, nobody was traveling, everybody wanted to travel, I wanted to travel, and I said we have to do a GMT in a way that is very pure and very simple to use, very elegant, subtle, and I hate when I have to adjust the watch, the time zone with the crown, because you can do it through a push button and that's it. But I also don't like the fact that when I do not travel, I have to see on a GMT the information that when I'm traveling. So when I'm at home, I want a two-hand watch, and when I travel, I want a GMT. So it's a GMT that is that comes alive only when you travel. And so I was with the head of development in January, and he understood very well what I wanted to do. We did this brainstorming together that lasted 5 minutes because it was so clear what we needed to do. We put this rattrapante function in the crown, and it's so ergonomic, so easy. You push at 8 o'clock because at 8 o'clock is the most comfortable position to press something. Okay? It's there for a reason, not only because it's beautiful. So here you move forward and you're showing the hand at home, which is gold, because home is the most precious thing we have, so it has to be gold. And then when you finish traveling, tuck, finished. The push button is in gold because it is linked to home.
すごく通好みなね、スタイルですよね。All the connoisseurs will love the watches for sure.
Well, and that's why Japan is so reacting positively, because understatement and refinement are two values that speak very well to an educated public in watchmaking like Japanese.
はい、いやでも湯気が立ってるんだよな。めっちゃ美味しそうだよな。京都を出て東京に帰ります。
GT が登場するまでのパルミジャーニフルリエって割とこうクラシックなイメージを、時計好きは持っていたんですけれども、GT が出てきてこう一躍、そのスポーツモデルというイメージでこうそういう人気が出てきて、PF がそれをさらに加速させてるというまさにお話しいただいた通りだと思うんですけど、今後の展開ですね。今後しばらくまたこのスポーツのラインでいくのか、あるいはその以前のようなクラシックな例えば複雑モデルとかそういったものをお出しになるのか、企業秘密かもしれないですけど問題のない範囲で今後の展開を教えてください。
I think the brand has to respect this value of high competence, high horological value, and understatement. Then there are luckily many ways to have a watch. So for sure, PF is a priority in defining the style today. But I don't see parimigianiflerurie only as a sports chic brand. I see it also as a more dressy watch, like you are used to with the Toric or with the previous Calva, but also in high complication. The restoration is extremely important. So it's also you saw the Rose Carré that we did for the anniversary. It's a pocket watch, Grand Sonnerie, minute repeater, over 2 million Swiss francs value. So the brand can express itself in many ways. So the important thing that is recognized as high horological content, and extreme understatement in terms of style.
ちょっとお話がそれるんですけど、このパルミジャーニフルリエの、コンペティターというかこういいライバルだなというふうに思うブランドはありますか？
To name a competition, the important thing is to see the soul of the brand, no? And there are not many brands who are talking to understated people. Luxury is very loud in these moments, no? So it's more of an ostentation and a quantitative approach to luxury. So there are brands who are discreet. I think of Laurent Ferrier in the independents, but it's not the same style, no? So it's difficult to identify exactly who is the frontal competitor. And I think that it's also luxury is big, but there's room for everyone. So it's not that you have to steal market share from when you are an independent brand, which is not big, no? So it's a brand that is interesting for people who are interested in these values that we're bringing. So we can overlap sometimes with the Lange, with the Vacheron, with the Nodena, with the Patek, but we're talking always about that level of sophistication, but also with independence. But luckily, you can buy more than one watch in your lifetime, so people will have fun and will experiment, and hopefully also with us.
なるほど。
お洋服の話をしましょうか。
そうですね。
ね。
じゃあグイドさんの今日の装いについて。
そうグイドさんいつも以前からジュネーブでお見かけしてる時とかがいつもすごいおしゃれで、洋服お好きなんだろうなというふうに勝手に思ってたんですけど、なかなかお話を聞く機会がなかったんで、今回2人で聞けるといいねって話をしていて、
わちゃわちゃお聞きしてみようと思いまして、
お洋服の話いいですか？
Of course. Yes.
僕はこのお仕事のシーンでしかお会いしてなくて、いつもすごい素敵なスーツスタイルなんですけど、スーツが多いんですか？
Yes, even when I sleep, when I go swimming, always. No, I'm joking. No. No, of course not. I wear also other outfits depending on the occasion. Yes.
スーツやはりイタリアでのブランドというかイタリアで仕立てたりっていう。
Yes, only Italian. And bespoke or brands, but brands that are not really distributed. It's quite niche.
いつも仕立ててるサルトリアはミラノですか？
I don't have a tailor which is only one. It depends where I shop. But this was done in Milano, tailor-made. But then it can be that I buy suits that are not tailor-made because I have a body which is quite regular, so I don't need to do special fittings. So it's can be costume suits from Naples. I love Naples style. From niche brands in Naples that are very qualitative, but it doesn't. I don't really follow a brand. I just pick what I like and then I dress with what I like.
ナポリしてる福田さんもお好きですからね。
で、靴もイタリアですか？
Yes.
今日はどちらの
？This is Santoni.
サントニ
今日はピッチの違うストライプでねまとめてらっしゃるのを私気がついたんですけど合ってるかな？ね。靴下までしましまですよ。
そう。
Today you're very expressive. Your suits and your socks and your shirt.
My shirt thin.
Really admiring your watch. 時計にね合ってますね。メガネもちょっと変わってますよね。
your glass is also interesting.
Now this is not well. It's made in Italy, but it's not an Italian brand. It's done by an Italian company. It's handmade, and again, I found them in a shop and I bought them.
以前からねこのボストンタイプというかボストンとかウェリントンいつもかけられてるんでお好きなのかなっていうふうにね。
Well, I'm like, it's not that I mean to. It's not an addiction, but glasses are important because they define your look, your regard. How do you say in English regard? It's not look, your expression. So they don't have to cover too much. Otherwise, you're looking at the glasses and not at the person. But they have to have a personality too. So. It's always a question of balance, no? Between how you do things.
先ほど来からその時計の話を伺っている時に控えめっていうこととラグジュアリーっていうことをとても大切にされている言葉なんだろうなっていうふうに思ってでグイドさんのお洋服の着こなしがまさにその控えめでラグジュアリーなんで何かこうなんだろうご自身の中でそのスタイルとその作ってる時計っていうのはこう共通項があるのかなっていうふうに思ってるんですけどいかがですか？
Well, luxury is not about the quantity that you put in an object. When you do too much, you go into vulgarity. Refinement is a balance between elements, and they shouldn't be invasive. The best design, the most long-lasting designs are the most pure, the less baroque, the less with decorative elements. The more you put into decorative elements, and the proportions are not part of the reason for the beauty of the object, you are adding artificially, in my opinion, an excess of craft which becomes unnecessary. No? So it's not a question of modesty, it's a question of balance. It's a question of elegance is finding the limit, not doing too much. Because too much is too much.
なんかいいお話ですね。
私ね一個聞いてもいいですか？そのたくさんありすぎるとやっぱり下品になってしまうということをおっしゃられたんですけど、やっぱりこう結構要素の多いこのスケルトンウォッチとかもすごく私難しいなと思って初めて見た時にこんな上品にできるんだと思ってびっくりしたんですけど、ちょっとそのお話もしていただけないですか
？Well, another rule for me in aesthetics, if you want to endure, you shouldn't have more than 2 colors. That's combining 2 colors is already an exercise. If you have 3, 4, so mechanics, the movement is part of a bigger object, the watch. And when constructors are looking at the movements of a skeleton, they tend to do everything with the movement. And when you develop aesthetically a watch, you have to balance everything, because the watch is what you wear. It's not just the movement. So when I see designers designing a skeleton, contrasting the platine with a color, the wheels with another, it becomes everything on the object, and then you put the hand on and you don't read it because it's too messy, there's too much. So the purity of the skeleton, why is it so elegant, is that we have toned down again what we wanted to show, which is the movement, because it's the background of reading the time. And to do a monochromatic skeleton, because there's nothing else that tones of gray in the mechanic, allows you to have the readability with the indexes in gold and with the hands in gold, which is a nice contrast. And this is part of the beauty of this watch, because it's extremely, it's the purity applied to mechanics.
いや なんかこうますますねパルミジャーニフルリエの時計好きになっちゃいましたね。
そうそうグイドさんかっこよかったもんね。
メガネ好きでロック好き。
そうロックの話はまあこの後
次回かな。
いろいろ聞きたいなと思います。
はい。
ということで、こういったなんだろうなインタビューみたいなのも、どしどしやっていきたいので、ね、
はい、
そこのブランドの、話が聞きたいよというのがあれば、どしどし
お寄せください。
リクエストください。
はい、
私の、インスタの DM 宛てで構いません。でインスタといえば、
はい、皆さんがねハッシュタグ腕時計魂とつけてインスタに投稿してくださっているのがねもう 12.5 万件とかすごい数字になってしまいまして、でその中から素敵なお写真をですね毎週5選私セレクトさせていただいて、フォルツァスタイルのあなたの時計見せてくださいという記事にさせていただいてますので、そちらも引き続きね投稿いただけたらと思います。お待ちしてます。
ということで次回は何かな。
何かな。
じゃあまたね。じゃん。
じゃん。